Hey, welcome back to Left 4 Dead Garage. Didn't really do anything last week, didn't post a video, but there will be one this week on the El Camino. So, talked to Joe about that wiring disaster that I mentioned in the last week's video. And he's like, do what you gotta do, leave me the AC. So I've got the AC loomed and kind of hid for the AC compressor, kind of hid over here. That's the ground for the AC. It's not hooked to anything. It's just looped back into the harness there. Kind of got this stuff pretty much situated where it looks decent. I still have to pull this header and do something about the wire routing down to the starter, the actual purple wire from the column, the ignition switch for the trip on the solenoid, and then the power supply coming back up for the PCM and all that. So today I'm going to pull that fuel tank and get it cleaned out, because there's something, I don't know if you'll be able to see in here or not. It's kind of dark, but that's what I pumped out with the return out of this tank. Here, I'll just pour just a touch out here. I don't know if you've seen that or not. Well, now it's all over me. So, yeah, that brown in there, that gas went to crap pretty quick. So, now that I'll smell lovely for when I walk back in the house. Pull this tank. I don't really remember if it was an issue to install this thing or not. It's been a while. But we'll jump under here, see if we can't get this thing dropped down, and try to figure out what to do about this return system on this. My mic's bothering me. Trying to figure out what to do about the return on the fuel system, because obviously can't have 120 plus PSI of fuel pressure. Just a disaster. So we'll jump under there, see what I need, and I'll get the tank down, and then we will together take a look at the return side and see if we can figure something out. And hopefully this car is real close to leaving. So let me grab some tools. All right, well, now I understand how this got screwed up. So, looking at this sending unit, I remember Joe and I having a conversation under this car, which one was the return or which one was the supply, which we figured out pretty quick because the supply has the brass nut. But here's where it gets confusing. Now I'm like 2 feet out from under the carport and it's raining. So, we had this fitting on there, which threads into this guy. I got it backwards. So we had this fitting on there, which threads into that, which turns it into a -6. So one would assume this bigger line would be a return, this tiny one would be a vent, negative. This is the return, this is the vent. This was what was pushed up into there and wasn't letting anything out. Well, if you follow this little skinny one down, it goes all the way to the bottom right here. So that's the return, but it's tiny. So from what I'm reading, everybody uses the vent and lets it vent through this, and I'm assuming even if the tank does have pressure in it, then you know that does not make a bit of sense, because if the tank had pressure in it and this was submerged, it would push fuel up. Because this is submerged and you pumped air in it, fuel would travel up this, not air, because the air's up here. So that doesn't make a lot of sense. So what I could do is I could cut that tube up high here, like, see, we're going to need a vent. So I could cut this tube and then just let it return in here. Hopefully, returning this high won't cause an aeration problem because the fuel's gonna fall. But I guess I could put a little piece of rubber hose on that little bit of steel right there and just let it hang down somewhere. Or maybe, well, I doubt I could bend that around to where I could hook the return to this tube that goes to the bottom. But as you can see, that's where one would get a little confused, and this was what was stuck in the end there. That guy rattles around, but you ain't blowing air through it. So I'm gonna put the return back to this. We'll figure something out as far as letting fuel fall back in or run through a hose or something. But I also have to figure out what to do about a vent. So let me see if I can come up with some sort of idea for that, and I'll get back to you. All right, well, I fixed one problem, and I've definitely created one new one and probably two new problems. So I was able to connect the old vent to the old return right here, and now the return is now the vent, but the tubing connecting the, I'm gonna get lost here, the original return added structure to this whole assembly. When I cut that out, the only thing holding it together was the connector hose. So that's why I had to put this little kicker on the new vent to zip tie to the new return to give it a little bit of, you know, so it didn't wobble so much. So hopefully that's not gonna suck gas if it's under pressure. Might have to drill a hole in the cap, and then hopefully the pump just don't fall off, you know, because there's nothing really structure about it now. But it should work. Oh, at the very least it'll return now. So let me get this thing stuck back together and put in the car, and I believe I have some gas, we can try it out, but yeah, fingers crossed. All right, the fuel system's happy now. It does start up a little bit better. The bad thing is I had 2 dead cylinders, so this injector number 4 is not firing, and then 6 wasn't firing, but I got to messing around with the power probe and cramming 12 volts to it and throwing a ground at it and everything else, and it started working. Well, this is the dead one. This one started working. This one is not. This one's not happy at all. So tomorrow I had to, pretty sure I've got some more injectors somewhere. So tomorrow I'll pull that rail and change all the injectors down this side, because the driver's side's got them. Well, actually, I don't know. I have to actually go back and watch the video and see which ones that I did change. I know that all the ones on the driver's side I swapped out, I think. I don't know. It's been a rough one. But it is running on 7 cylinders. Get that done. Still have to pull the header. I probably mentioned that 52 times by now. And safely route those wires. Still have to fuel sending unit. I need to tie up the vent hose for the gas tank, and I need to tidy up the power wire from the PCM back to the fuel pump, and then run it, make sure it's all good. I did notice it was at about 80-90 pounds of oil pressure, so that's all good. But I'm gonna stop off tonight. We'll jump back on this thing in the morning and see if I can't figure out why the injector's not firing, and we'll knock out the rest of the list. See you in the morning.
Competition Products, your source for hardcore engine parts for street, strip, and oval track. Our free catalog is packed with hundreds of product lines from the best-known manufacturers in the performance industry. Lowest prices guaranteed. Free shipping and handling on all orders over $149 in the continental U.S. Need expert advice? Our knowledgeable staff is just a phone call away. Competition Product, race parts sold by racers since 1970.
So I got this rail pulled out. Hopefully you can try to find me something to stick this to, something steel. There we go. All right, I got this front injector here. I'll try to do this one-handed. Got this front injector here in the power probe. I'll show you. I can force it on. I got fuel pressure on the rail. If I can get this thing flipped around one-handed. So, see the power probe light up, green. You look down in there. Boom. We got it. That one clearly works. All right, I'm gonna jump over here to this one. Apply the ground. You can see the green light light up. I mean, you know, if you don't have one of these, I really. So, got a ground. I don't like the noise, so. All right. Nothing. Dead. It is clicking. That click you hear is the power probe, but I can feel that injector do its job, but it's just not opening. So that's one of the ones that's probably not been replaced since all the fuel pressure happened. So I got another intake over here. I'm gonna rob some parts off of it and swap this injector out and see how it does. It's like 15 to 7, so I can't crank this thing just yet this morning, but about 8:30 if I'm up, well, you need to be up too. So I'm gonna get that swapped out, tidy up some wire, and pull this header off, and we'll see where I'm at then. All right, I got it swapped out. Let me show you it's spraying now. Let's see if I can. This worked great by myself a while ago. Now it's like a real brand new. Alright, got a ground. Yep. So, we have a firing injector again. It's still early. Oh, I said it was 7:45 a while ago. It's only 7:20. Oh, it must have been 6:45 a while ago. It might not even been that late. Or that early. I don't know. But stick this rail back in, pull this header, tidy up some wiring. Like I said, hopefully we can move forward firing this thing today and running it, getting it closer to being gone. All right, getting this wiring tidied up. It's going to pull the header to try to get up in there, but I had to pull the dipstick and I'm just sick of it. So I knew I had to change this transmission crossmember anyway, so I just pulled the crossmember, took the jack, lowered the transmission down, got my hand up in there. I could not get a zip tie around the harness and the dipstick tube to try to pull it tight and snug, and just couldn't do it. Could not get in there. So I got the fuel pump wire. I know you can't see it. I gotta add the connector back to it. Got it all loomed and hid and tucked in there. I guess I could probably show you. I mean, kind of dark under here, but I mean, I know this ain't shocking super nice stuff, but used all the existing frame holes and stuff, and I'm gonna snug this back in there. And I don't know where this aluminum came from. This stuff's hard. This ain't like regular old garbage Amazon stuff. There's some good stuff here. So got the transmission crossmember out. I could not, I know you can't see up in there, I just could not get my hand up in there for no reason, no way whatsoever. So I'm gonna get this crossmember in. Matter of fact, I'll just stick you under here and we'll put this crossmember in right quick. Well, I say quick, I probably ruined that. I believe this is a G-force crossmember. Well, it might work. Yeah, there we go. It lines up. Boy, it is sure close to that pan. Looks like it has several bolt holes, several choices here. I don't know what bolt that is, but that is not what I'm looking for. Must be universal, like turbo 350s, $700 or 60, maybe 400. I don't really know. I didn't buy it. But it allows, well, one, it's stout, it's pretty nice. Two, main thing, dual exhaust. Because that other one, it had to chop it up or some sort of hackery. I hope this side over here slides back. It seems like it lines up. Got a little adjustment here. I see a new problem. Really, this says back of crossmember. This does not line up with the transmission. So, unless that one does. I got the jack in the way. I'm going to drop it. Let's see what the heck's going on here. So, clearly got it back. There's a second bolt hole there, and then there's one that you can't see. It's up in here. So you got forward holes. I might be able to. Yeah, it's pretty close. I can probably pry that around. So, let me see if I can find a couple of bolts, because I only have one for that. And let's see if we can't finish this up right quick. Alright, fuel pump power wire, zip tied all the way to the back, connected, heat shrunk. Transmission crossmember is in. That thing worked out. Do a little arguing with it. Still have to do motor mount. I don't know if you can see it up there, but I need to put nuts on the motor mount bolts. Plug that O2 sensor back up. And I think I'm gonna try to run it for a little bit. It's got about 2 gallons of 87 in the tank. It's for a lawnmower, but it should be all right to get the laptop out. I mean, make sure everything's happy as far as I can tell. But we're getting there, so. All right, the tune's way off, but it's just running, you know. But I don't know how well you can hear it. It's idled up a little high. I don't know if you can even hear me. I don't have a mic on. All right, well, there's a short video or a short clip of it running. It also drives. So I'm waiting on the guy to come back and finish tuning because I ran into some issues. Well, we ran into some issues trying to get it to tune. Come to find out, there have been issues with these cheap Amazon harnesses and the ground system for the O2 sensor. So this thing had no fuel trims, no O2 sensor readings whatsoever. The F-body O2 sensor is different than the pickup, even though they do have the same plug. It's how they ground. One's body ground and one's harness ground, or something like that. We tried one F-body sensor because that's all they had in stock, and it had fuel trims for a moment. I don't know what the deal was. Joe did some reading, and he came by while I was still at work and unpinned a section out of a factory harness and added some pins to this harness. And I believe this tape section is the stuff that he's added. I wasn't here. I have to look through the text to find out for sure, but yeah. But it does run and drive. It's just not, it's not happy yet. Oh, it does have exhaust on it. I can probably crank it. So he took it for exhaust. It's a little ill to crank. It's got Borla XR1 mufflers, 2.5 inch exhaust. It will idle on its own here in a second. There it goes. But I don't think I covered this. He also bought a B&M, this sweet billet B&M shifter. So, and then I don't know where he got that stand from, but it's a, well, you see the box there, a Magnum grip, super nice shifter. So, but yeah, we'll walk back here. Oh, he put the, he's washed it too, put the centers on it, so. But hopefully once the tune guy comes and gets some stuff sorted out, there's some questionable, the transmission's questionable. Joe actually drove it up the road for the first time in 8 years, I believe is what he told me. Hopefully the trans situation could be done through tuning, through HP tuners. I don't know why it indicates on the screen that it's in second gear and while it's in park, because this harness you do not use the PRND selector. And I did go in there and put that to none like you would if it was turbo 350, 400, 700 R4 or manual transmission. But it still doesn't. And I've not driven it, I've not bothered, you know what I mean, other than moving around the yard or whatever. I figure I'd wait on the tune guy. So that's where we're at with El Camino. This could possibly be the last video. Honestly, I hope it is. No offense to the car or Joe, but it's time to move on. But yeah, got pink truck video coming next week. I thought it was going to be this week, but it was not. So got pink truck video coming, and then I believe there's going to be an orange C10 video, and it'll be something different than I've done. So it'll be a group effort video, put it to you that way. But that'll do it for this video, and we'll see you on the next one. Thanks for watching Left 4 Dead Garage.